Good morning, everybody, and a very, very happy Saturday morning to you guys. Thank you for all of your comments. I am okay, don't worry. We have a lot of stuff to cover in this video, so let's just jump in and get busy, shall we? Let's go. Before we get to the working royals, I want to cover some of this stuff. This is pretty interesting. Queen Elizabeth and Princess Margaret's childhood dresses have given inspiration for a new capsule collection. So designer Peppa London has worked with charity Historic Royal Palaces on their new collection. These gorgeous pictures that you're looking at were taken at Hampton Court Palace. Now there is a picture of the sisters in the dresses with the Duke of York in 1935, but just absolutely adorable. What they've done is they've taken historical references and reimagined them for today's children using Liberty florals, silhouettes, and some really nice details. It's not meant to just be worn, they're saying, but to be cherished and remembered. They're heirlooms in the making, and the portion of the proceeds go to support charity Historic Royal Palaces. All right, let's move on now. In honor of Princess Diana's birthday, a lot of magazines have come out with articles talking about how Diana really was a fashion icon, how she transcended fashion, she achieved chic and elegance. All you saw was her, and the clothes became secondary to her own presence and her own work. And over the years, she wore a range of looks that became enshrined in fashion history. Everything from the wedding gown she wore, to the revenge dress she wore to the Vanity Fair party in 1994 after she split from Prince Charles, and other outfits. All of these outfits we've seen them, right? Like this one is from when she boarded the train, but a lot of outfits I've never seen before, which is shocking. This one, all in pink, never saw it before. This one, I don't remember that hat, and I don't remember ever seeing that dress. I don't remember ever seeing this outfit before. I just find it interesting that after all these years, they were able to come up with outfits that I've never seen before. Like this blue one, where the heck did she ever wear this? I don't remember that at all. At all. Some of the outfits are a little bit more daring than others. Some are more businesslike, some are not. But I just think it really does show that she really was an icon in her time for fashion, for sure. Okay, let's move on. All right, next up, this was very interesting. The brooch that Camilla wore on day 5 of the Ascot. Apparently nobody's seen it since 1936. Not even Queen Elizabeth wore it in public during her 70-year reign. The diamond piece's provenance dates back to 1893 when Queen Mary was gifted the item for her wedding to King Charles V. It was later worn by the Queen Mother when she was the Duchess of York, but it has not been seen in public since 1936. That's pretty cool. At the same time, another article came out which is incorrect. This was not Princess Diana's necklace. It's an emerald pendant centerpiece, and the jewelry belongs to the crown. So Diana had worn it once, and then Camilla took it and fashioned it into a diamond brooch. It's 4 carats of white diamonds set in 18 individual stones, and it's topped with a 3-carat green cut emerald pendant. So while it might have been worn by Princess Diana, the piece actually belongs to the crown. It goes back to 1863. It originally belonged to Queen Alexandra, and I don't like the way they said it was Diana's. It was not Diana's. Nice way to try to run hate, though. And FYI, they're reporting this now, but Camilla actually wore the brooch back in 2019. So this is not, new news. This is old. They're just trying to rile people against Camilla. I hate that kind of reporting. I really do. Let's move on now to Secret Weapon Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh. She went and visited the Groundswell Regenerative Agricultural Festival. This is the same festival that William, the Prince of Wales, had been to and had given that fabulous speech. This event is held at Lannick Farm in Hertfordshire, and it showcases different innovative farming techniques, including artificial intelligence applications in agriculture. Sophie was spotted touring different stalls that they had set up. She went and observed some farm animals. She greeted some attendees. She was also seen sitting on some hay bales to discuss matters with some of the guests that were assembled there. This festival actually brings together regenerative agricultural experts, farmers, and climate advocates so they can explore sustainable food and land use practices. Now, Sophie is patron of the Association of Show and Agricultural Organizations, so it made sense that she spent the day there engaging with the different exhibitions. By the way, some of the exhibitions were things like composting, crop rotation, and innovative farming techniques. Pretty cool. A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce, as usual, for showing us everything that Sophie was wearing. Let's continue. Let's move on to her husband, Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh. He, on June 2nd, as the chairman of the Duke of Edinburgh International Award Foundation, attended an education leadership gathering in Toronto before he flew home. Next up, a couple of days ago, Princess Anne visited the Ardrishaig Community Trust at the Ardrishaig Community Centre in Scotland. I love her, lemon-colored outfit. She looks very summery to me. And of course, a young lady presented Anne with a bouquet of flowers upon her arrival to the Ardrishaig Public Hall. Let's move on to King Charles, who went on a visit to Campbelltown, I believe is how I'm saying it. He wore a traditional kilt with a matching tie and a nice jacket. He looked very relaxed. He met a lot of people when he first arrived, representatives from distilleries, and he attended a community reception with invited guests and representatives from local charities. Just so you know, this town is considered to be one of Scotland's most remote mainland towns, and it was once described as the whiskey capital of the world because it had 34 distilleries, but they're saying now it's experiencing a program of regeneration led by local businesses and charitable organizations. Among those at the reception were a food bank, the Development Trust, and members of the local women's group. So, Charles gets there, and of course, since it's the whiskey capital, they decide to give him a little, thing of whiskey. I think Charles likes his whiskey, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I thought it was very interesting. He took it, he sniffed it, he kind of spoke again, then he sniffed it again, and then I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to taste whiskey. You know how it is, like with wine, they swirl it around in the glass. But with whiskey, I have no idea. I'm guessing that since Charles likes whiskey, he probably knew what he was doing. So when he was done trying his, a dram of whiskey, he went out to take a look at some of the cultural aspects of the area. He went into a green grocer's. The king visited the harbor, and he even watched a demonstration of how they shear sheep. I used to think it was mean until I realized that it had to be done. Yeah. Now, let me just tell you something that I saw online. What they're saying is this visit is part of Holyrood Week, but Holyrood Week refers to a week of royal engagements in Scotland, and the visit to this town to highlight its historical importance is not a Holyrood themed event, if that makes sense, what the AI is saying. Anyway, Charles, after that, went around to greet people. Now, people were saying there weren't a lot of people there. That's what I saw, but I'm sorry. There are a couple of pictures here where they zoomed back, and there were large crowds of people. I think Charles is well loved. All right, next up, spotted in the royal box prior to the gentlemen's singles second round match was Prince Michael of Kent. All right, next up, the Princess of Wales, after she left the Cancer Society yesterday, she apparently attended a cultural day event at the 2nd Battalion of the Parachute Regiment. And this is an opportunity for paratroopers to come together and celebrate the different cultural groups that make up the battalion. I had no idea that she went to a second event until I saw it, a day later. So you know me, I have to cover it. And then after that, you had the Prince of Wales, Prince William, who received the President of Kenya, William Ruto, I believe it was at Windsor Castle, on Thursday morning. Let's move on to our Harry Meghan stuff. This story really got me because apparently Meghan is concerned that when the kids grow up and realize that they were cut out of the royal family, they're going to have this longed-for fantasy that they could have gone around cutting ribbons, shaking hands, being adored, living in castles, and being handed millions to live every year, and their mother screwed it for them. Well, she did. If I were them, I'd write a book. All right, next up, always complain, always explain. On Twitter found this, which I find interesting. Her wine is from 2023. She has not been working on this wine for several years. People are thinking that this wine is leftover wine that the winery wasn't able to get rid of and they just slapped her label on it. Well, I guess that's possible. In the meantime, you guys remember James Stocks? He's the guy that says that Netflix asked him to come on the show and he said no. And he basically slammed her cooking skills. Well, he slammed her for the price of her wine. Remember, you have to buy the bottles 3 at a time. He has said that the launch was the great wine robbery. He says, and you only cater to high-end clientele. He says the product lacked inclusivity and mass appeal. Now remember, he serves as an ambassador for the King's Trust, and he said he was astonished that the consumers had to purchase the wine in batches of 3. Nobody knows what it tastes like. Why would somebody buy 3 bottles minimum? It could taste like vinegar and it could be bitter like her. So the wine works out to 22 pounds a bottle, and he said the price was considerably high and he wasn't surprised. It's similar to her other products. It's not meant to be affordable for the general public, but caters to a more exclusive market. So here's what people were noticing though on the website. First of all, it was a weird promotional shoot. She had bad English in her newsletter and errors on her website URL. Now, as the other person said, Meghan Markle was trying to force people to buy 3 bottles at a total of $110 minimum, and she directed her fans to shop via wine.asever.com, but on the wine's label, it says aseverwine.com. So, I mean, whatever happened to her, attention to detail? Well, don't worry, because what they're saying now is that Meghan Markle has had multiple opportunities and she has squandered them all. Now, I'm telling you exactly what the article says. She and Harry failed to see the bigger picture, that she has a lifestyle that will collapse as soon as the public loses interest in her, that she and her, and I'm quoting, thick as a plank husband have dropped from A-list to D-list, and that history has called out to both Meghan and Catherine, but only Catherine knew how to respond. All right, moving on. Remember I told you the other day about the woman who said that Meghan was brighter than Harry and they thought that she had engineered her love with Harry. She really didn't love Harry. She was just, using him, and Harry was too stupid to figure it out. Well, The Sun had a discussion about it and they said it 10 times better than I could have. So just listen to this.
This has come from Sally Bedlesmith, who's a very, very well-respected royal biographer. She was extremely close to Lady Elizabeth Anson, who was a confidant and a cousin of the Queen. And Liza Shackley, as Sally Bedlesmith likes to call her, she was speaking to the Queen on a regular basis, right up until her death, in fact, and spoke to her every day, even in lockdown. So this has come right from the horse's mouth, so to speak. And I think, the fact that we can trust this information, which is so derogatory to Meghan, is very, very telling. And to be honest, it confirms what we'd already suspected, that that at first the Queen was very keen on Meghan. She welcomed her. She thought she'd be great. And then slowly but surely, like a lot of other people, she saw a different side to her. And very disappointingly, she started to have her doubts about her. And I think it ruined her relationship with Harry, which was a very close one. She claimed that she was rude to her for 10 minutes. She wouldn't tell her details of her wedding dress. She couldn't understand why she wouldn't talk about that. And she remarked that Harry was perhaps a little bit too much in love, was possibly besotted and a bit weak, and being manipulated by Meghan. And I think, unfortunately, that confirms what I've been saying or thought for the last few years, that sadly, Meghan never really had any intention of staying in the royal family. She saw it as a stepping stone, getting married to Harry, to new fame and fortune. And I think that's what initially Prince William was concerned about, and that's why they fell out.
As if that wasn't enough, Nigel Farage on GB News with Mr. Starkey, I believe is his name. I love his voice. I mean, the gloves are off. People are saying exactly what they think. Listen to this.
Isn't it amazing? This is the result, Nigel. You and I have never had it. It's called religious conversion. The Harry we have now is not the Harry we had then. He's been persuaded of the doctrine of woke and the doctrine of mental health. God help him. And it's like a religious conversion. Every value that this man believed in before is stood on its head. He has betrayed his entire past, and what we have now, we've got two Harrys. He's abandoned his good side for this new bad, whinging, wailing, destructive. Do you know what? I think we need a stronger word than you've been using. This man is a traitor to everything that he has believed in, to his family, to the monarchy, to the country, to his grandmother, to his father. We see what the problem is with the new gospel, the new heresy of woke and of mental well-being. It's a gospel which is purely of the self. It discards every other obligation.
Duty, service, all these concepts are gone.
All the things that were so exemplified by the late Queen. And instead, you have this vortex of self-absorption. But you know what, Nigel? What struck me about the whole thing was everything is so bloody petty. You look at it. We had a dispute about a tiara, a bridesmaid's dress. Do you know what? My bedroom was smaller than my brother's. I feel contempt.
Yes, I have no sympathy whatsoever. I think we've directed much of our ire at Meghan over the course of the last couple of years. I think he really is the problem. It's he that's betrayed his family.
And again, what's come out of all of this is a sort of simmering teenage resentment. When people convert, I've described this as a process of conversion, there is somebody who converts. There is no doubt it's she. She has acted as his priestess into this new, absurd Californian religion.
So not
Feelings,
all of these,
my truth matters more than her truth.
No, I get that.
It's utter self-destruction.
That is true.
Every time he gives an interview, now, of course, he contradicts himself.
And finally, if there was any discussion about People magazine and who they worked for, they've literally become just a rag, because now they're merching Meghan's clothing. They actually put links in. Click on the link and Meghan makes money and People makes money. They're literally merching clothing for Meghan. This is how far down the rabbit hole People magazine has fallen. I hope everybody is having a safe and happy July 4th weekend. Please be careful, you guys, okay? Don't forget to leave your comments and then hit the like and the subscribe button. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the links to my Twitter, Gettr, Rumble, email, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale, a link to my Amazon wish list, and a link to my second channel. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.